We are here with the final stage video for the year. I know it is no longer September, but you know what? I still like making videos on fan games, and I think they are worth giving a try. This time, we are going to cover 8 Sonic fan games that made an appearance at this event. Some of these games I am pretty interested in checking out. Just like with every other stage video, I will put links to the pages where you can download these games in the description below. Now with that out of the way, let's get started. Knuckles Quest is one of the fan games I was looking into when I saw the trailer. One of my friends has been working on it for a while, and I've seen him work on it, and I think that the gameplay of the treasure hunting levels of SA2 could be improved upon, so I knew I was going to play this one. The two things that really impressed me about this demo were the controls and level design. The controls to me feel like the controls in the Sonic Adventure games. There are some things that are missing, like digging, and I do think that the jump and glide feel a little too heavy for my liking, but it's a great foundation for what we could expect for an evolution of treasure hunting gameplay. We may only have one level, but I would say that the level we do have is pretty well designed. There are many locations for the emerald shards to be and different ways to get them. I think the emerald radar was a little confusing at first. It changes from a lighter color to a darker color. It probably doesn't help that the level is small, so you might get a different emerald nearby, making it go weird. Though that's probably because I'm used to the radar from the adventure games. This demo is a pretty short one, it's only one level, and that's about it. I am interested to see where this demo can go, but for now what we have is a pretty good proof of concept that can be ironed out. I played an early build of Sonic Rush 3D before having made this video, and while it had a lot of potential in it, I thought that the handling of the game was very slippery and gave me the vibe of Sonic Unleashed. Now we have a new demo with a new stage, so did this demo fix all my problems with the previous one? Let's find out. Firstly, I gotta say, I really like that this game looks like a DS game. The chunky models, how the textures were purposely pixelated. It's just a game that clearly knows what its inspiration is and wears it on its sleeve. The control of Sonic in this demo is pretty simple to explain. Sonic in this game is heavily inspired by the Boost Sonic games, primarily Sonic Unleashed I would say. You have the basics that come with Boost Sonic, the homing attack, the boost, quick step, and the drift to name a few. One thing that carries over from Sonic Rush for this demo is the trick system. In this demo, when you jump off a spring or a rainbow ring, you get the ability to do a trick which will fill your boost gauge and score. This is something I was skeptical of when I saw it, but I really overall liked it. And I think it was interesting that the direction tricks were tied to the triggers. But there are some things in this demo in terms of control that I was not overall a big fan of. I thought the quick step didn't get enough distance for it to be overall useful. Sonic's overall left and right movement was not stiff enough, but the main thing is the drift. The drift in this game is so stiff. I felt like I wasn't getting enough turn when I drift, leading me to run into walls. So in this demo, you only have one level, which is Leaf Forest. But they didn't just take that level and plop it in a 3D environment. They made an entirely new level. Now, when I first played this level, I was awful at it. I was not getting that flow I normally like from Sonic games, and was just not having a fun time. Now, just because you die and suck at your first run of a Sonic level, doesn't mean that the level is bad. Because the main thing about Sonic games, and Sega games period, is that they are meant to be replayed and mastered to get the most out of the game. That second run was so much more fun, and I truly understood that this was actually a great level. I would say that the only problem is that some shortcuts suffer from the Sonic Unleashed problem of some shortcut paths being obscure or only showing up for a split second, making it near impossible for you to get that path. But I overall had a fun time with this demo, and I am very intrigued to see what else the dev team could do with it. Not gonna lie with y'all, I was a little worried going into Sonic Skyfall. It didn't have anything to do with the game itself, it has more so to do with the engine it was using. The only other game I played that was on the Infinity engine was, oh god, I can't believe I have to bring this up again, Sonic Omens. And if you don't know, I do not like Sonic Omens for many reasons. But I made a video about that I hate, so you can watch that instead. But after playing this demo, I thought it was an interesting concept. In terms of the visual style, I mean, it's an Infinity Engine game, which means that's gonna look pretty good. Though, there is something I need to mention. I have a pretty good PC, about the same power level as a PS4 Pro, but for some reason, on medium graphics all around, 60 FPS, and VSync, this game really chugged to run 30 FPS and had screen tearing on my monitor. I don't know if this is going to be noticeable when I put it in the video, but I thought I would let you know. If you played any Sonic fan game that is using the Infinity engine, you will definitely get used to how Sonic and Shadow controls in this game. I do prefer how Sonic controls setup was in Generations, but now that we have Frontiers, I am more used to this control scheme. One thing I noticed in this game was that whenever I tried to boost uphill, the boost would just stop working. I do not know why this is, but I do hope it gets fixed in the next demo. Now we have 4 levels in this demo, and I think there are some good ideas in these levels. The first 2 levels are Nanite Nimbus.
I am Mr. Nimbus! He's gonna say that a lot.
These were overall fine levels to go through. It really shows how the free flow movement of the Infinity engine can be used for good aerial platforming. The third level is Mystic Moat. This one felt more like a tutorial level than anything, and if it was meant for that purpose, I think it did a pretty good job at it. The final level in this demo is Cranium Corners, the final level in this game. I was overall not a big fan of. It felt like a level that went on longer than it did, and I think maze levels and fast-paced platformers are pace breakers more than anything. I overall think that there was a good foundation for what we got here, just some things that need to be ironed out. So, a little context is needed with this entry. I do not like Sonic and the Secret Rings. In fact, it is a contender for not only the worst Sonic game for me, but one of the worst games I have ever played. So color me impressed when I saw that someone was going to PO6 Secret Rings. I may find some things about Secret Rings to be very hard to fix, but I was interested to see how this was going to go. So the first thing I need to mention is that this game fixes one of my biggest problems with the original game, and it was how Sonic was basically not fun to control from the beginning. This demo fixes it by giving you enough points to make you choose which ability you have at the beginning. Whereas in the original game, you had to deal with the fact that Sonic controlled like shit. There are some things I am not overall fond of. I thought that grinding was really slow, switching rails felt the same as the original to me, and then I thought that while not as stiff as the original game, the strafing was a little too loose for my liking, but these are things that can be easily fixed in a later demo, I'd say. But Sonic's controls are overall an improvement over the base game, but other than that, the controls, there's not much to talk about in terms of levels and missions, because they are the same as the original game. So if you like or dislike the levels and missions, then I think there are some of them will not change your mind. Now we don't have much in this game so far, only the first 2 worlds, but given that the original game got better for each world, I can't wait. I recommend this demo if you're interested at all, but I do think there is a good foundation for what we have here so far. I have talked about Sonic Colors Demastered in last year's Sage video, and I saw potential in the project. This year we got a new demo for the game, and I am interested to see what they added in this version. The controls are the exact same as the previous demo, but there is something I have to mention. The game now has control stick support, oh my god! Seriously, this makes a major difference, since I think playing 2D platformers or 2D games in general with an Xbox One D-pad is not fun whatsoever. But other than that, no differences I can tell. So all the levels that were in the previous build, like Speed Mountain and Starlight Carnival, are all in the build and are the same from what I can tell. So if you like or dislike those levels, those are left unchanged. I am still somewhat surprised that this demo didn't add boss fights, and I don't think that would be all that hard since almost all the Sonic Color bosses were 2D. But in terms of new content in this demo, we get the third planet, Planet Wisp. Just like the other planets, there are 3 missions and 2 levels. I am a bit mixed on the levels in Planet Wisp. The first level I thought was overall pretty good. It had a good blend of speed and platforming. This level also introduces the Magenta Wisp, which is a wisp from Sonic Lost World on Wii U. The gimmick with this wisp is that it's a rhythm game. I do think that this wisp is somewhat of a pace breaker, since it's just stopping the action just to play a rhythm game. The second level is my least favorite level in the game so far. I never really liked levels where the pace is out of your hands and it's up to the game to decide the pace of the level, and the second level of Planet Wisp does that. These Minecraft minecart sections take up more than half the stage, and it makes it one I am not a fan of. This level introduces the Lightning Wisp from Sonic Lost World on 3DS, but it's only for the dark sections of the level. I still think this game has a lot of potential, and I had more fun than not playing it. I just hope that Aquarium Park is a better overall area than Planet Wisp. Sonic Ultra Saturn is a game that feels like it's trying to show us what a possible Sonic game on the Sega Saturn would look like. Even though I would say Sonic Mania is the closest to what we got officially. 2D Sonic fan games are some of my favorite Sonic fan games like Sonic and the Fallen Star and Sonic Triple Trouble 16-bit, so I was interested to see what this game was all about. But when I got to the first boss of the game, I knew that I would need to play this on my own rather than go through it for the video. You'll see why. So firstly, I think that this game looks really good. There are some sprites that look as though they were taken from the Genesis games, but other than that, it looks like a 2D Sonic game on the Saturn. The physics for Sonic in this game is really good and nearly spot on with the Genesis games Mania and Superstars. The first act of the first zone was honestly not that bad, but this is where I get into why I didn't get past the first boss. I don't know if my controller was being weird, but I found that the control stick was very specific with what direction was considered down for a roll. I thought that the second act was too long with it lasting nearly 4 minutes, having many moments that just made me going through it not all that fun. But the big reason though is that I thought the boss after the level was really annoying. I couldn't tell if I was doing damage or not, and when I died I knew that I wasn't gonna suffer just for a video. I will play this game on my own time or on Twitch in the future, but for now I'm not gonna say don't play it, but I do recommend knowing that if you are playing this, control stick only, and there is one button. I used a PS4 controller for this game and it was the circle button, so I am pretty sure it will be the B button on an Xbox One controller. Sonic Momentum is a game I tried in the past, and I don't know why, but I couldn't really get into it. The focus of this game is that you are trying to build momentum, which feels weird to me with certain things like rolling in a ball. So maybe I will see something in this video. First of all, I gotta say this. The game looks gorgeous with the sprites and overall color palette. Although this game seemed to be taking inspiration from Sonic Frontiers in terms of its aesthetics with the cyber stages, which I am not against whatsoever. There are 3 characters you could play as in this demo: Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. Sonic is the all-around character in the game and is perfect for beginners. He can roll into a ball, attack enemies, home and dash, etc. I tried out Tails and Knuckles for a level and wasn't really feeling them, so I'll say in terms of the differences I noticed, Tails can fly and has a rage attack, Knuckles can glide, climb walls, and can choose the trajectory of his air dash, but I would just default to Sonic since he is the all-around character. The focus of this game is to reach a state of momentum, where you can't stop or slow down, and I think that this mechanic puts it on the list of Sonic games where it's hard to master, but if you nail it, it can be addicting. But overall, I am not into Sonic Momentum because I need to find the first impression good enough to make me want to master it, and unlike games like Sonic Riders, I don't find Momentum fun enough to master with short levels that make me feel as though I ain't getting much out of them, or that Tails and Knuckles weren't really for me playstyle wise. I would say that while this game isn't for me, I do recommend giving this one a shot. Sonic Velocity is a demo I had no idea what to expect out of all the other games in this video. The only context I had of it was a tweet from Gotta Be Frank where he equated the end boss cutscene with the Flames of Disaster meme. So going into the demo, I was interested to see what it was going to be like. So this game is obviously taking inspiration from Sonic Unleashed with the world globe at the beginning, hub worlds to explore, and how the game is overall designed. I'm not going to say that's a bad thing, since with more and more time, people are going to want to return to form for the world adventure format and gameplay of Sonic Unleashed. Sonic's overall control in this game feels pretty good. If I have to compare it to anything, it would feel like Sonic Generations, which is the game I think most if not all Sonic games should strive for in terms of boost controls. I didn't notice anything weird with how Sonic controlled or really much to complain about. It was fun to control and that's really all I wanted. In this game, there's only one hub world, one level, and a boss. The hub world doesn't have much going for it. It shows how pretty the game can be, but not much else. The level we got, I would say, is pretty fun. It has the basic principles of a great Sonic level, divergent pathways, fast-paced action, and replayability with the ranking system. The boss we got is one that is pretty simple though. If it is the first boss of the final game, then I think it would do a pretty good job at that role. I see a lot of potential in this project, and I'm interested to see what they add in later demos. And that is all the Sage 2024 games I wanted to talk about this year. I was going to talk about more games that came out this year, but given the next video requires me to talk about 10 plus games, I cut back to 8 Sonic games for this video. Smaller than last year, but Sonic Battle R was gonna be weird with updating. It took forever, so I didn't talk about it. With that out of the way, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and as always, have a nice day.